Today's podcast is brought to you by Introduction to Online Business Made Simple, a 6-part audio course that teaches you how to get started with your online venture. Find out more at usingyourpower.com/course.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to Using Your Power. My name is Maveen, Kaura.
And I'm David Andrew Wiebe.
David Andrew Wiebe, what is going on today?
I'm powered up, man, because we're going to be talking about where to meet people when you network.
Ooh, that's a pretty cool topic.
Yeah, since we have been talking about networking and building networks, all this talk about networking, I think it's important to think about where do we go or how do we meet people. And depending on who you are and your personality, you're going to be comfortable in certain environments versus others, right? So we got to be somewhat choosy with where we go, but we also just have to work through some of that discomfort and put ourselves out there.
Absolutely, right? You know, I think the best thing sometimes to do is go to places that you have common interests with people. Like, you know, if you're part of a club or if you like chess, for example, then go join a chess club, right? You're going to find people with common interest. Sometimes is huge. Going to places where if you don't know something, then go to places where they can teach you those things. And it's an easy way to network as well. And I think we got a whole list of places that are going to probably fit into these examples. So why don't you start it off?
Yeah, well, I think the most obvious and basic one is networking events. You can probably find some on Eventbrite, possibly even through Google. You could just research network events in your locality and find places where people are already meeting. Now, granted, a lot of these are going to be probably business networking events, but if you're looking for something outside of that, you can probably also find like dating events and stuff like that.
Absolutely. You know, it kind of working right along that, right? So when we are at these different network events, you know, you look at network marketing companies, right? So they kind of do the same thing. They allow you to, you know, join their multi-level marketing business. You can meet tons of other business owners there, different people maybe that have, you know, their employees at companies or whatever. But you can really start meeting people that maybe, you know, somebody knows a painter that you could get together with, or somebody knows a business guy, or somebody that knows, you know, a girl that could, you know, do websites or something, right? So there's great places to even talk to people when you're in these network marketing companies and still make some great connections.
I agree. And I think some places are actually more lenient than others. Like my training system said, the number one person that you should be communicating with most often is your upline. And then, you know, beyond that, you know, people that are directly in your downline should be number 2. And then maybe number 3 is like crossline, other people that you know. But we were told not to, you know, get too involved with crossline in our particular training system, which is interesting.
That is interesting because, you know, one of the things that we were told was get to know everybody at your, you know, at the event, right? Because the more people, if I knew somebody who was, for example, I brought, you know, let's say if I brought a writer in, right? And you're at this network marketing event and you're not on my team or anywhere, you know, you're my cross line, you know, I can't bring my writer friend to you anymore, but it would only make sense for me to know, because if you're a writer, David, I bring over John here, be like, hey John, talk to David. David is a writer, you're a writer, you guys have something in common, right? So just a way for John then to feel comfortable, right? So we were encouraged to let you know, find out what other people were doing, because it's a great way to, you know, introduce the person you've invited so they feel comfortable and have something in common with somebody else at the event.
I feel like that is a better way of doing it.
I agree.
But to add on to that point, you know, conferences, seminars, training, workshops, obviously, if you're in network marketing, you're going to be going to a lot of those. But you can also find them outside of, you know, network marketing. You can find them in various industries. You can find them on personal development or just general stuff that you want to learn on. So there's a ton of stuff out there. Tony Robbins, whatever it is you want to do. I mean, you could probably go for free, or you could pay several $1,000s to attend some of these. So the spectrum runs from, you know, $0 to thousands of dollars, depending on what you're going to go to.
Absolutely. And I know we've done that as well, right? We've gone to a couple of different conferences or seminars, I guess it would be called, really, because one was a network marketing for China-Canadian business relations. Really didn't have anything to do with us. We did meet a couple of entrepreneurs in the city that were also looking to drum up some business. Yeah. Me and you went to another marketing event where, you know, they were talking a little bit about I guess, marketing. And, we did meet a couple people there. We didn't really keep in touch with a lot of those people. Again, they were just really talking about how to, set up your website and how people, the basic stuff that we, I think, already kind of know and are already applying to our different businesses, as well as using yourpower.com here. So, but it was a great place to just go and see that there's other people doing the same thing we're doing. And we did have some good questions, and we did hear some good questions there as well. So we were still able to pick up some bits and pieces of good information.
Yeah, I thought so. What's your next point?
My next point here was social media. I think that's such a great place to meet people. But again, it depends on how we're utilizing social media, right? A lot of times people are on there just liking other people's stuff, but social media is a powerful business tool if we use it that way. Facebook for sure, Facebook groups, LinkedIn being another one. My wife utilizes Instagram very well for her kombucha business because, it's where people are. People want to see health and fitness and health and beauty. So she's out there and doing those kind of things and utilizing that as well, right? And I mean, Twitter is a pretty good place, but I find Twitter is not necessarily the best place to socialize. Sometimes, not everybody is going to be writing back, right? So if you're trying to talk to a VC or something like that, it's going to be very tough to get that person's attention unless you may be introduced through somebody else, right? So I mean, it's still a great place to meet somebody. Don't get me wrong, you should keep trying if you're on Twitter, but I mean, don't be discouraged when they don't necessarily answer you back.
Yeah, I've booked a few interviews through Twitter, I think, for my podcast. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, if you can't find their contact information, that might be one of the good ways. But I hear you. Sometimes you need a warm contact or referral to get in touch with those people.
Absolutely.
I think, this goes right in with what you said about social media, because meetup.com really is kind of social media in its own right. It's a place where people can start their own communities and organize gatherings for their specific events. And you can find a lot of different stuff, no matter what you're looking for. Bloggers, podcasters, web designers. You can find pretty much every interest under the moon, spirituality, religion. They're all there. So check out meetup.com, find what's going on in your locality. And if there's nothing going on, then take some initiative and start your own meetup.
Oh, I like that, what you just said at the end, right? I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, what if there isn't something happening? What do you do then, right? So I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
Start your own thing. And that's, I really like that concept. I think that's one way, right? If you can't find people to meet, meetup.com, I guess, would be a great place. Not that we're affiliated with them at all.
Nope.
But I mean, it sounds like it's a great idea if you want to find people with common interests and maybe know something that you don't know, right? One of the things I was thinking about, a lot of people have pets and a lot of people have dogs. So I know when you were just recently out in Okotoks and I came and visited you out there, and I noticed everybody out there had dogs, right? So, where you were, there was a park behind your house. I know I've thought about it and I said, why don't people utilize the park and start talking to their neighbors a little bit more and find out how they can network with these people as well, because they have something in common already. They all have dogs, right? So they're going to talk. They have something to talk about and start a conversation with, right? So I just thought it was a kind of a neat idea, utilizing the parks in our cities and towns and finding reasons to talk to people, because even if it's not your local park in your backyard, typically there's bigger parks that you can go to, water parks and whatnot, and talk to people, because again, they're all going to have something in common.
Yeah, those are some great points. And I think that does happen a little bit out there in Okotoks because people are pretty friendly. But yeah, I didn't get to know a ton of people while I was there or anything. Of course, I had a lot of work to do and I was inside a lot too. And I was just walking the dog here and there. The next one I had was house parties. This is one that I actually enjoy because it could be in a fairly, let's say, an environment that's advantageous for you, because it could be your own house and you bring a few friends over, but you invite the friends of your friends. And now you're opening up your network a little bit by getting to know some people that you maybe didn't know before. So it's a fairly safe environment, I would say, even for introverts or people who find it a little bit difficult to get out of their shell. A really fun way to get to know people. And of course, depending on the nature of the house party, some are just, completely out of control. So they may not be great environments to quote unquote network. So you got to look at the right kind of house party.
Absolutely. House party reminds me of a live version of LinkedIn. For some reason.
Yeah.
It's all your buddies on LinkedIn. It's all your buddies at your house party, right? So sometimes, not every time it's your friends, but it kind of just reminds me of that.
Totally.
One of the things I was thinking about is places you can meet people are on, if you're on a plane, You're not going anywhere. You might as well talk to the person next to you. If you're on a train, same type of idea. A lot of times people nowadays just throw earphones in their head. They don't really talk to anybody. They just listen to their music or whatever. But, if you take off your earphones and have an educated conversation, or even just an ABC conversation with the person next to you, you never know. You might open up your opportunities by talking to them. And same thing as if you're sitting on a bus, no different. Just take off your earphones and, just say, hey, how you doing? And what do you do? What do you do in Calgary? I know it's a little scary for people to do, but I think it's just a great way to go out there and meet people and not only do that, but you also increase your own confidence levels when you're able to just talk to complete strangers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's something we had to do in network marketing, or at least learn how to do it. Even if it was just going up to the till at the bank or, the register at the local shop, you forced yourself to at least get, 3 questions in to get a sense of who they were and get a real conversation happening before you left. And you just got into that habit over and over again. So, and then this one is kind of thinking outside the box, which is going to church. Now, I mean, church isn't necessarily everybody's favorite place, and it isn't necessarily my favorite place either, although I grew up in the church, and that's totally fine. People get together and become couples at churches every day. People strike up deals in churches every day. People could become friends at churches every single day and get invited to barbecues and so on and so forth. So there's a ton of potential there if you're open-minded, or if you're spiritual, or if you're desperate. No, actually don't go if you're desperate.
Well, you never know, right? You might be desperate for God.
Yeah.
So you never know, right?
You never know.
So one of the things I was thinking about is, if you're at a restaurant, sometimes that's a great place to network as well. Not necessarily with the patrons of the restaurant, but, the server that's coming to you, right? They're doing their job. They're coming to say hi to you. Typically, they're a little younger. They might be in college or just out of college or whatever, or putting them through themselves through university. And, they're going to be friendly. They're trying to get a good tip out of you anyways. So you might as well say, hey, what do you do? What are you taking? Are you in school? And just kind of talking to them. There's nothing wrong with that, because you might end up talking to somebody that's taking, say, for example, computer science, and that's exactly what your business is. And you need somebody who can do website development and say, hey, you know what? I might have an opportunity for you. Would you consider maybe doing some part-time work for me, right? Again, you never know unless you start talking to people.
Absolutely. Did you have any other points there, man?
You know what? I got a bonus point that I wanted to bring up. I just kind of threw it in my points because I was traveling out of town. I'm going to be traveling to Mexico in a couple of weeks here, and I just thought about it. I said, look, I'm going to be sitting on a beach. Why wouldn't I talk to people that are sitting on the beach as well? They're from all over the world. So why don't I take advantage of trying to get to know people from all over the world, right? It might be a great way to network with them, find out what they do. And it might be a great way for, us to utilize, their skills, and vice versa. We might be able to pick up some business and maybe do some business in a different country as well. So how cool would that be?
And you may never see them again, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember going down to California once, and I was hanging out with my stepbrother. We went to a party, and I was just busting on people like they were friends I knew for a long time. In reality, I just met them that night, but I was making fun of them. So,
that's sometimes the best kind of relationships, right? You just kind of meet people and you just hit it off right away, and you guys are, making fun of each other, and you're having a good time and just laughing and creating that bond, and it just comes out of nowhere, right? So great way to network as well, creating that bond.
Yeah, absolutely. Any closing remarks?
Oh, man. I think just anywhere you go, just keep your eyes and ears open for opportunities, and just talk to different people all the time. And the more you talk to people, the more not only do you learn about them, but you actually learn more about yourself as well, and what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. So just go, put out your hand, take the chance, and just say hi to people.
Yeah. And depending on where you live, I think you'll find people are maybe a little more open or a little less open, and that's totally okay. If you find it's difficult to get to know some people, yeah, there could be some environmental factors there. It's not just you, and trust me, there's probably thought clouds over every city that exists where people think a certain way, and it's determined by the ether, which we've had a discussion about before. But, keep putting yourself out there. It's all you can do, so...
Absolutely. Well said, David.
Yeah. All right. So this has been Using Your Power. Find us at usingyourpower.com. Leave a comment. Send us a message. Download our free audio course or purchase our business audio course. And we'll talk to you next time.
Absolutely. And don't forget to like, comment, and share on iTunes.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful day.